Hi everyone, I'm very happy to have this chance to give my presentation. Before I start my speech, let me introduce myself first. My name is Yong Jiaro. You guys can call me Carol. Today I will share my research with you guys, and the title of my presentation is Definitions and Example of Racial Prejudice, Racial Discrimination, Ethnocentrism, and Communal Politics. Firstly, I would like to discuss definition and example of racial prejudice and discrimination. According to research, races and racism are discussed differently in every family. Discrimination is the discriminatory treatment of people of different racial groups or of people perceived to be of a different racial group on unreasonable groups, in particular by treating some people less favorably and limiting their opportunities and rights. Different degrees of discrimination such as culture, racial, education, occupation may lead to different degrees of discrimination. Discrimination is behavior based on prejudice. Discrimination generally occurs between two interest groups. The discrimination party disseminates or conducts derogatory or defamatory statements or acts against the discriminated party because it feels that its interest, status, power, or culture will be threatened. Challenged by the discriminated party. In fact, discrimination means that the discrimination party seeks an injustifiable or unspeakable reason in order to safeguard the unreasonable, illegal, unfair, or unjust things and achieve the purpose of safeguarding its own interests. Second, discrimination can lead to exclusion or marginalization and the denial of rights, such as access to fair housing conditions, employment opportunities, education, and full participation in civic life. But discrimination itself can most effectively bring together the trustworthy and most effectively separate the trustworthy. The definition of discrimination is controversial, and whether it is considered discriminatory speech and differently treatment involves the extent of freedom of speech. Second, I will talk about ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is a complex phenomenon that encompasses a well-defined set of barriers, attitudes, and behaviors. Next, we will look at some of its most important features. The main features of ethnocentrism is to use one's own habits, cultural factors, ways of thinking, or barriers as feeders to judge the legitimacy of others. The more similar a society is to a developed society, the better people will eat. Thus, for example, a person affected by ethnocentrism will believe that the relation practiced in his country is the only valid relation and will only accept relations that are more or less similar to those in his own country. The same goes for other aspects of the cultures, such as their attitudes toward relationships or gender, their artistic expression or belief about life. In this way, when ethnocentrism occurs, culture itself becomes the standard by which all other groups on each or judge. These attitudes fail to take into account the great diversity of the world in terms of societies and their ways of thinking and acting. Although this does not always happen, in most cases there is ethnocentrism which coexists with other negative phenomena such as prejudice against other cultures and the persons of prejudice. Moreover, in many cases, this way of thinking also ends up leading to racism. Public politics is an institution intuitive to address relevant and real-world problems, guided by concepts and implemented by plans as a course of action typically created and developed by governments to address social problems. In addition to this broad definition, public policy has been conceptualized in a variety of ways, such as agenda setting in defining issues that require government attention, determining which issue deserve the most attention, and determining the nature of the problem. Each system is affected by different public issues and has different stakeholders, so each country needs different public policies. That's all of today. Thanks for your listening.